Gentlemen, we're here. We're going for it. Map number 2. It's Train. Peak Esports begin on the T side. Power Your Aura took map number 1 in this best of 3 series. They stole away Dust 2 with some crazy clutches towards the end with Dexter, who is now starting things off very hot in his own right in map number 2. We're right into it, and he's just decimated Peak with a 4K in 4 different bullets. He's railed them. Clap those cheeks. Made them hurt. As now Peak looks to try and not give Dexter the ace. Ganofi tries to pull off some kind of unfathomable 1 versus 5 clutch. Dexter's looking for it. Dexter's found it. The ace in the first round. The ace in the pistol. Power Your Aura once again off to a good start. And Peak now 0-9 on the day in pistol rounds. So, 0-9 in the pistol. Doesn't bode well for them. Just imagine if Peak could win a pistol round. It would put them in such a much better position than what they find themselves in for the majority of the time they spend playing. Immediately, Shattery goes straight down the Pop Dog. Tries to find a quick Zeus kill. As it is, iFan is probably about to find a whole lot more here as he goes up to 1, 2... Looking at 3, gets bursted in the head in the end by the Glock. Now with this, in a 2 versus 4 with basically no weaponry on the T side, just the FAMAS with no armor in the back of it, this is going to be an extremely difficult round for Peak to even consider trying to convert. They surely are going to be run down here at the Ivy position by Manho. As soon as they go for this, they're going to have all guns pointed at their position. First frag for Manho, easy. Second frag, even easier. Takes less damage on the second time around against the FAMAS and still gives Power Your Aura up to their second. So opportunities are plentiful here for Aura, and now Peak will be looking to try and get their buying ways back. 2-0. As Peak now onto the AKs, looking to try and fight back against Power Your Aura here. They've got the M4s, they've got 2 FAMASs, and they've got 1 MP9. So overall, you definitely prefer to have the T-sided buy, but still, they do end up winning this round, Aura, then it will set them in extremely good stead for the remainder of this half. Once again, knock Peak back onto an eco of sorts. That's a very difficult opening engagement there for Ganofi. If he would have been able to find that frag without any damage being taken, he could almost certainly have doubled down onto Xanax, who was just around the corner. Quick 180 for Ganofi as he takes down iFan, who gets a little bit aggressive behind him. And now Ganofi will be instigating this assault into the A site, sorry. Flashbangs will rein in now. He'll throw a second just to try and make things a little easier. Manho still remains to be the player that needs to be dealt with, and thankfully, just at the expense of Freddy, he is now transferring your attention back towards the Pop Dog for Maze, results in a 2K. Immediately opening things up for Peak Esports. Their account is open. Immediately, with a round such as that, and with the damage that they were able to inflict previously, they find themselves an eco here for Aura. Shattery hears a lot of what's coming. He needs to make sure that he can stay alive here. Drops a Molotov to keep himself safe. He's got Sensei's assistance too. And Shattery and Sensei do finish off the round, really. Maze is, for some reason, a crazy big fan of this unsilenced M4. whilst I was watching Peak on the Epic LAN stream earlier against OSS, the casters on there are a little bit perturbed and confused as to why he had it without the silencer on. At this point, I am absolutely convinced that it is just Maze and voice. He just thinks it's better. For whatever reason, he just thinks it's better. I don't know if when it's unsilenced, it has the ability to one-tap. Maybe that's part of it. I really don't know. But he prefers it, so who are we to argue if the results are there to back it up? But once again, Aura are now back on the buy. Just one swift eco is all they needed to try and turn their fortunes around. But the AWP of Dexter has gone aggressively towards Sandwich and has already been bested over there. That's going to be with that A1S that Maze has been bringing into it. Surely now Maze is going to meet his maker as iFan manages to ping him over the top of the smoke. A little bit of elevation ends up playing spoiler, but Shattery is able to come in once again from the Ivy position, where he is often so effective. He's found 1 and 2, but not able to find 3. Manho was just a bridge too far for him that time around. Gnorfi now will look to try and find the frag onto Manho as he drops back off the site. Thankfully for Peak, he's able to convert that. And even a quick snap onto the final player. A 2k for Gnorfi, 2k for Shattery. You like to see Peak starting to get the ball rolling. Flashbang smokes the whole shebang, rolling in toward the A site this time around as once again Aura are on pistols. They've found 2 frags, or 1 frag, sorry, with it already. Peak have now found 2. Just the USP has found the calling that time around, but now a bit of spray coming in from Freddy and Maze. Needs a little bit more assistance, and in the end they're able to finish the round off. So only losing 1 man in the process. That's Shattery. That's 1 piece of reinvestment that will be forced up. But still, from this moment in time, Peak's money looks alright. They look okay. They look pretty tasty with this one. Got $9,000 building up on Gnorfi. They got $7,000 building up on Freddy. And a further $8,300 on Sensei. So, really, not the worst of situations here. Just winning 4 rounds in a row has really started to open up this half for Peak a fair amount. Now, if they can get this round and bring it up to 5, they'll again be against a bit of a half buy on the 6th. This is going to be stupid aggressive from Gnorfi, though. Look at the balls on that. How audacious do you have to be to just go barreling through a Molotov? I can't get the word, but in the end, a Molotov just like that. God. That is a play and a half, isn't it? Now iFan's looking to pinch out, and this is a really weird spot now for the T's, as they've got partly in behind enemy lines, but haven't fully committed to it. So now in a 4-on-4, Shattery gets taken down, and now Gnorfi, who was the only player otherwise stuck inside of the A site, soon follows. And I think that because they've taken so much time on the approach here, Aura have kind of figured out what they were trying to do. Really, as soon as Gnorfi gets right into that A site, that should really be something that you can get behind. As soon as he goes through that Molotov and lodges himself in a very difficult position to try and move away from for Aura, try and get him out of there requires a lot of commitment. And so, to not really run behind that, and to not utilise Shattery as a pinch on Ivy as well, feels like a bit of an oversight there from Peak. They definitely could have found themselves up to a much better stead, but as a result, they end up conceding. Sensei is going to try and go aggressively down the pop door and just gets mollywopped. I'm a little confused, to be honest with you. We're going to get some movement. That would be great. Went down there with the AWP looking to try and combat warp it and ended up dying. Seems a little weird, and now Peak and all the advantages they were starting to find, the momentum they looked to be building up on their T side, seems to be undoing itself so very quickly. Maze drops down, picks up the AWP. Wants to try and keep that one going, as it is one of the more expensive weapons that Peak are going to be sporting. If they lose this round, they have really no built-up loss bonus to fall back on. So any saviour be greatly appreciated, and currently that's looking to be Shattery. I think he slightly botches that flashbang, as he wanted that to go a fair amount deeper into the site. And a player has disconnected. Find out. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to play into Peak's favour anymore than it otherwise would have done. Shattery, actually, never mind. 2-on-2 all of a sudden, resulting out of iFan's disconnection. Not the best way to want to win a round, but as it is, damage had already been taken, so you can't automatically pin it up. Now Shattery finds the one. Needs to try and find the final frag onto Xanax as well, but I don't think that's going to be easy. Needs to go through the flames and just walk straight into the scope, and the outcome is still the same. Power your aura, get to 4, and Peak Esports, a bit of a rut. So we hope now that we can get the player iFan back into the lobby, into the server. He is unable to disconnect. I'm not sure what will become of it. Oh, right, he's right back in. Okay, good. Right back in then. Best possible outcome for Aura. They win the round regardless of his disconnection. Peak are going to use this time, this tech timeout, I guess, as a bit of attack. Right away, Peak looking to get as aggro as possible into this one, wanting to try and take this round by the horns, as they have had opportunity to do so in previous rounds, but have failed to really take the prerogative and really stress the advantage. Already, Shattery down to just 51 HP as that HE grenade and the follow-up subsequent flashbang absolutely nail him. That molly will just cut off the right side on the entrance towards the site through green train. Bang now goes in. It's over towards B where the hit's coming in. Shattery was all but a distraction. Now 2 players segregated from the rest due to the Molotov, stemming their entry and the flow of traffic. Unfortunately, the outcome is still the same as iFan installing his way back into the round, into the game with a 2K. And the defense is just so strong here from Aura. No real contest. Heat is too strong. A hot day outside, and it's an even hotter day in the server for Peak Esports right now. They're struggling. Whilst the first 4 rounds they won obviously looked quite good, it seems that they've kind of entered a bit of a stumbling block here with wanting to not become too stale, and Power Your Aura are, well, just kind of getting a little bit used to it at this point. They're snuffing out, they're kind of getting the sniffer dogs on it, kind of figuring out exactly where they're going to be going, what the plays are going to be like, and kind of experiencing trends and patterns. We're seeing that a fair amount now. In towards the A site go the T's, but Ifan is up in heaven. And whilst this is usually a popular position to defend the entire round from, he's looking for the second ace of the game from a Aura member. Instead, I have a feeling that Manho's about to snatch it away from him. The 4K was good enough, though, and as a result of that 4K and the lack of reinvestment that's being forced in here by Aura, they're starting to build a bit of a bank of their own. You can see $5,800 on Ifan, a further $7,250 on Dexter. And eventually, those kind of finances really start to stack up, especially on Dexter, if he can start to keep that AWP in cycle. Another tech timeout because Freddy's got 100 ping for whatever reason. So here we are in round number 11. Peak once again back on their buy, back on their bush. As it is going to be the AWP in the hands of Sensei, 4 other AKs sporting alongside of that. Meanwhile, on the flip side of things, on Aura's CT side, they're still sporting that AWP on Dexter as well. So there's still going to be that contentious battle to take care of. Maze is trying a sneaky little lurk out in which he's won the initial engagement on Xanax. Now that's going to prove to be difficult for Ifan as 2 Molotovs get dropped at his feet. He ends up burning down to 10 HP and is going to be stuck here in upper. But the bomb is still yet to make its way over to the B site. However, Sensei is going to try and do as much as he can to stop any rotations from coming in too quickly. And as he now looks up towards finishing off Ifan, Shattery does the same onto Manho. And the round is cleaned up flawlessly for Peak with a lovely entry coming out from Maze. And that's just testament to if you can catch the right timing, how the rounds can completely unravel for you and completely fall into your lap, as it just has there for Peak. They catch one nice timing onto Xanax as they reach their way out of the lower tunnel. That comes in from Maze, who just literally walks his way out without any warning. No flashbang, no smoke, no nothing. Just walks his way out and ends up finding victory off the back of it. They are allowed, after that moment in time, to trap Ifan upstairs. As a result of that, the round is won. Easy to just then on your approach. This time around, Ganofi takes another engagement towards T main. Yesterday, he was getting bullied in this position on the T side. But this time seems to have a little bit more luck, faring nicely in this stance. Ifan, however, somehow just got past Chattery there. To the extent that I actually thought for a second that was just a T standing by another T looking at the T, and I was a little bit worried. And I realised that that was, in fact, Chattery and Ifan. The 3 versus 4 then. For Peak to try and contend with. Unfortunately, contending with it no more, as immediately Maze gets picked off over at the B site. Sensei is going to have to be the one to entry, as he has the AK now and also the majority of the health. Ganofi only on 3 HP. Probably dead to rights here any second. He goes down, quickly followed by his teammate in Sensei. Peak still on their buys. Orb still in the hand of Sensei, looking to try and find that adjustment, but just doesn't see it, I guess, over the haze of the Molotov. Impact takes him down with the AUG for free. No damage inflicted, no response from Peak either. And that will prove to be a problem in the later parts of the round. Their key man, Sensei, with the AWP, who often cracks open so many rounds, is now gone. It's on to Ganofi to try and do as much damage as he can towards the Ivy position, but as the backtracks player moves away, Manho survives the round, and what is going on with iFan just making it by T's? What was Freddy looking at there? Alright. Yes. Impact. Looks to try and shut this round down now with one more frag. Maze might be it, but in the end it's Shattery to go first, and Ganofi once again is left thinking, how has this happened? We're smarter than this. Moment. Seems you're not. 1 versus 4 for the 8 HP Maze, who really would just like to get away with this rifle, with this AWP no less, and the utility in which he's bestowed with. Aura will find 8. Crucial round for them, really. Counter-terrorists win. So now all that comes into this round is just a couple of upgraded pistols with the Deagle and, of course, that AWP that was saved over in the last round. It has to find impact here on the back of Maze. It really has to. If it doesn't, then it's going to be a 9th round for Aura, and then they might not have the feasibility to buy in the AWP for the final round of the half. So he could be staring down the barrel of a 10-5 CT side. But Freddy, well, that 100 ping problem isn't mattering anymore, as he's opening up with a quick 1D. Dexter with the AWP on the CT side is taken clean out of the round, and that swift dismissal will mean that Freddy now gets the AWP of his own. But iFan has found a way up through the pop dog position, and there's just a huge gap in the middle that he can exploit. Thankfully, Ganofi is there once again to make the trade. This time it's Manho that falls with a little bit of aggression out of the Ivy area. Now it looks like the A site might be a little bit susceptible. That orb picked up by Sensei is going to find its mark. That's going to be fairly nice to try and start this round to be opened up. I mean, coming into this one with only upgraded pistols and barely anybody actually buying armor to go with it would be a huge win here for Peak, and I can't oversell that enough, really. It's so massive for them to come up trumps in this round. But already, Ganofi walking in. He's got Impact to try and contend with. Xanax Wow gets taken down, but now Impact 1-on-2. Now just down to 1-on-1. Ganofi desperately needs this round, and unfortunately he's not going to be able to find it. The economic damage is huge, but it doesn't make a dent in the economy that Aura have built up. Nonetheless, for the final round of the half, the buy should still be good from both sides. The AWP is still accessible, thankfully, for Sensei, and that might mean that they can activate him before this second half starts. He's already only on 8 kills. Really, we expect to see him flying high and flying the mast for his team, just as iFan currently is at 17 frags. But a 10-5 half here would be pretty disastrous for Peak. They really would like to go to 9-6 and no worse than that, because they're going to give themselves too tall of a mountain to try and scale. Xanax has already spotted the first player over toward B, and that's going to be an instant call for a rotation. And as soon as Peak recognise that this might have been spotted out, they really should start to consider some kind of doubling back or wasting some time off the clock, because these rotations are going to be too hard to deal with sooner rather than later. It will make this approach into the B site all that more difficult. good spray going in from Xanax, but now on his way into the site, Maze looking to try and take him out. Goes up, goes over, and ends up sacrificing Shattery for it. In the end, if he'd have just swung out, they'd have actually found that round far more easily than they were originally anticipating. But nonetheless, still a 4 versus 4. Ganofi way too low on the site, susceptible to any utility that was to come his way. But thankfully for Peak, he is not going to be fending off against that. It's just 2 flashbangs, the only utility that remains here for Aura. A nice frag from Sensei, an even better one from Freddy. Up top, watching the flank, it's all he needs to do. Now checking down low, Sensei able to get activated before the half at 9-6. Aura still with a sensational run to open things up. iFan firing off from all cylinders is always a good sign. And this looks like a promising game on our hands here, as 9-6 could result in a very spicy half. But remember, Peak Esports are notoriously good on the CT side of Train. Their T side is a bit of a liability at times. I was speaking to Canny earlier and suggesting that they need to work on it, because this T side could prove to be a crucial short pitfall when they need it most. And right now, boy did they need that. They needed a really good T side there, and 9-6 may not quite cut it, because we don't know quite what Aura have to offer on their T side. Is how one-dimensional is it going to be? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? What have they got in the locker? Northie just waits. Finds one. Swings out for a second, but actually gets goosed in the process. Now needs to try and survive as he falls. Wants to try and catch the ladder to make sure he doesn't just get instantly bodied by the fall damage. iFan goes barreling out, and quickly through his bum, I think Ganofi manages to somehow find his head. The hitboxes for the headshots from down below are certainly weird, but now Maze over on the A site is lapping up frags. With Shattery's assistance, they should have this round dead to rights, and Peak find their first pistol of the day! 10 rounds it's taken them. 10 pistol rounds, 1 victory. 1 from 9, boys. 1 from 9. 1 to 9. 1 from 10. There you go, got there in the end. Maths was never really my strong suit, I'll be honest. HE grenades now go barreling in towards the team main position. That instantly finds impact, and as a result of that, a 4 versus 5 ensues. Aura looking to try and eco this round out to establish a bye in the 3rd round. But it doesn't matter, because the unarmored opponents are absolutely nothing for Sensei's scout. He laps both of those frags up. Quick adjustment coming into Ganofi, but there thankfully is going to be that frag sorted out, even though he does get dinked down. iFan now looks to try and take at least one of these frags before Maze finishes it off and upgrades to the M4. So, 9-8. Look at what can happen, Peak. If you can win a pistol, you can convert it into a reasonable state of affairs. Unreal, isn't it, really? Aura with the full buy back in now, though. The AKs and a little bit of utility to go with it. Everybody fully armoured up too. Meanwhile, they're going to be against an M4, 2 Augs, sorry, not a FAMAS, an MP9 and a Scout. So I think I know which buy I'd definitely rather have. That definitely is going to be Aura's. However, the advantage of the CT side is you've got to wait for those Ts to come to you, and they can be pesky. In fact, may have spotted Maze, and his patience pays off as he finds the inaugural frag of the round. Manho looking to try and get a quick drop on the pop dog here. He already heard one player backing away as he was tagged by the Molotov. That was Ganofi, and now Ganofi is going to be left as one of the only players defending A, as a matter of fact. In fact, the only player defending A gets one frag, but isn't able to finish off Manho. And now, as a result of that, the A site will be opened up a fair amount. There's going to be 3 players coming in from Ivy, with the only single other player in Manho coming in from the pop dog position. Now, there's still 2 players stacked up on the B site here from Peak, and they need to get a move on if they want to find any chance of finding victory in this round. The bomb is already going to be planted here by iFan. As soon as he feels comfortable to do so, he'll lay that down. Molotov into connector as well to stem any further progress from the CTs and make sure they can't find accessibility in this retake. And it looks like already they've considered the fact that this retake is not for them. They're going to be backing out of it and trying to save these weapons that they've got over at the B side of things. Peak recognizing when they're beaten, and I have to agree with them in this time around. They definitely were here. No real chance for them to try and get towards any of these rifles. No real chance for them to get towards this round, as a matter of fact. And this is what we see. Good economic positioning here from Power Your Aura. They get themselves up rather nicely on that first round with the pistols. You know, obviously a little bit touch and go. But they eco on the second, and then as a result of that, they can get a full buy and a round win on the third. So 10 to 8 crawls around. But as soon as Pete can get this double AWP setup moving, which you'd imagine will be only a matter of time, that's generally where we see them do their best work. On train. So we're looking for it. What have they got to offer? With this bite, it's going to need to be a fairly momentous round, as still on the scout, Sensei needs to be finding heads, not tags, really. They need him to be having the most impact of all. With that HE grenade and that Molotov, Maze is so screwed. Down to 7 HP. He desperately needs somebody to bail him out right about now, but he is going to have to try and frag his way out of it. It's not a fun spot to be in. However, he might have found himself a fun opening. Grabs Ifan, and that relieves some of Maze's pressure. As long as Ganofi doesn't get refragged here by impact, it should be a reasonably good situation. Impact, thankfully for Peak, does not end up getting the refrag. However, Dexter does. Chattery down. 5 HP even remains on Dexter. No, that timing is so poor. If Freddy stays behind Spindle, easily this round is won right there and then. But Peak are now going to have to consider what could be a save. Dexter is looking to try and pinch it from behind, and he finds Ganofi only on 5 HP. It doesn't matter. The headshot is enough to finish it off. Maze having a scout. Come on, it's like, is it barely even worth it? Love to get to a different weapon, because the scout certainly is handicapping Pete a fair amount here. Couple of blunders coming in from Peak every now and again now. Their macro play with how they want to maneuver the map is a little bit touch and go. Finding themselves quite far away from the best possible outcomes from any of these rounds. So now here comes the inevitable eco round from Peak. Remember, in their T-half, they were actually able to find a round such as this. Victory. We're going to have to do the same thing again here. Need an injection, a steroid, something to lift their spirits and potentially drive them towards this half. Or at least getting back into this half, making it look a little competitive. Because if this round goes astray, which it almost certainly will, Peak will find themselves 4 down. A battery of utility goes into the B site, but thankfully, Maze is able to find one with it. Sensei, again, back in on the trade with the AUG, but over the top of this train, Manho looking for more. Grabs 1, grabs 2. Could turn around for the 180 here and potentially find Sensei. Sensei has played this one so well. He grabs 1, he grabs 2, and it is the full eco round, just like that. With Sensei on the 3k, Maze with the scout. I thought it was hamstringing them, but apparently not. They find the victory. Just like that. Pete needed that round so badly. is literally a lifeline. And they have finally been gifted it. 2 AKs recovered. And that should mean we get to see at least one of these 2 AWPs come into play here. There's the first. And there's the second. Chattery and Sensei wasting no time before getting to this crutch of a setup for Peak. Both AKs passed over to Freddy and Ganofi, and as a result of that, Maze picks up an AUG for this round. The weapon that was able to turn the tides for Peak in that last one. And even still here, if Peak are able to find this round, which it would be so important for them to do so if they can, Aura find themselves economically wrecked for a little moment, and maybe taking a half buy, which could construe this game back to being super tight, up to 11 rounds apiece. Chattery, though, finds the first frag at a really important time, and that's going to be so important for Peak's mental. Sometimes GeoTV gets a little bit stuck there and wants a helping hand on the auto-director. Molotov in towards the Pop Dog, just to try and force Manho and the rest of the guys back. Maze, it's messy. Definitely messy. And now, amongst all of that, it could be falling apart. Ganofi ends up falling here too. Now the double AWPs have to try and chime in. Dexter desperately looking to try and find Chattery, who he knows was at Ivy somewhere. He just needs to try and find the correct timing. Sensei dancing around the connector position, as he so often does, looking to try and find some kind of advantage that can swing the round back in Peak's favour. Fortunately for the time being, the wallbangs underneath the train are not going to come in. Now Freddy falls. Sensei soon follows thereafter. And this is such an important round for Peak to find. But Xanax is actually on the 4K looking for the ace, as Chattery is going to be the final player remaining. Chattery would be so hard pressed to clutch this one with an AWP right now. He doesn't even have the kit either, so needs to find these frags as soon as he possibly can. The first presents itself, he finds the shot, but he has no idea where the second is. He goes peeking for it, but he's peeking the wrong way. Dexter will find it. No problems, no questions asked. Power your aura. Find 12 rounds, and as soon as Peak get a lifeline thrown to them, it is snatched straight out of their cold, cold, dead hands. And Power Your Aura use it to power their machine once more. They get themselves back up onto a decent buy. They make sure that AWP is still in position. Dexter plays that 1 versus 1 so well. And the difficulty here is, what do you do for Peak? What is the buy? Do you give the AWP to Sensei here and he drops the Deagle out to one of you? Or do you keep the Deagle on Sensei, give the AWP to Ganofi as he's currently got, and just force him whatever it is that you can? I don't really know. It doesn't feel like a winnable situation right now. Peak only see L's as everywhere they look. And just that kerfuffle in the last round. Towards the Pop Dog area and towards Team Main. Both Ganofi and Maze were able to just keep one player alive out of all that, either one of them. They would have been in such a good position. And they would have easily cleaned up the round. There's been no way back in for Power Your Aura. Nice shot though from Ganofi. Making up for his mistakes in a similar position in the round just before with a nice shot onto Impact into Team Main to open things up. Another frag found. Maze now collects an AK for his troubles. And it seems that Peak are finding their most impactful starts on rounds where they really need these buys that they're putting through to come in clutch. The half buys, the force buys, the ecos, they all seem to be where Peak are garnering their advantages. They just need to make sure that they can press those advantages in the gun rounds. And that at the moment is proving to be the difficult task. Right now, Aura looking to try and maneuver their way around the Ivy position, negotiating their entry with the standing guard of Chattery. Going to try and bounce them if he can. Got Manho on 30 HP. That's an easy first frag. The second soon to come around the corner, and I'm pretty sure he knows it. Smoke down. They will try to abscond into it, but Chattery goes 2 for 1, leaving Dexter alone in a 1-on-4 clutch. And unfortunately, I feel like that's not going to work out for you, Chief. Sensei gets towards the AK, and Peak are the benefactors of another very important force buy round. Double AWP will not be accessible here, though, for Peak. They have to settle for the single AWP for the time being. And thankfully for Peak, they're given a break. There's some form of solace here, as Aura are going to opt for the eco. They don't have the money to buy. Zenex sets up a flashbang, the only flashbang for his teammate's entry. AWP trying to fire off now as Freddy burns one, grabs one with the M4, sorry, and the AWP should finish everything else off. Freddy even burns one to the grave posthumously. And Peak find 11. The buy here for Aura might not actually be as good as they'd originally anticipated off the back of the eco round. There's going to be Galils coming in for not one but two players and a UMP to follow suit. Xanax will also pick up the Galil. It's just going to be one AK. So Peak now with the double up setup back in play. They're going to be looking to try and do what they can with this particular round. If they can find it and bankroll themselves up to another round win, a 12th win, it might also relegate Aura back down to their economic problems and exacerbate them even further. One Galil now taken out of the round. It's going to be more crucial to get rid of the AK. Certainly a little bit damage going down towards the top dog position, but now Sensei recognising that his teammates may need help over at the B site because there is very little noise being made over at A. I think Maze recognises it now as well. Manho eats a grenade. 37 HP is all that remains on him. So he should be super susceptible to these M4s when they come on in. That's Freddy finding the first, immediately taken down, but Sensei's there to trade with the AWP. He's starting to get these licks in. Now the bomb plant could be huge here for Aura. It might instigate them to be able to get something out of this next round buy-wise. With that extra $800, it could just be the instigation, the initiation tool they're looking for. Maze, however, takes down Impact, and it is just IFAN is all that remains. 12 on the scorecard for Peak. They're bringing it back, boys. They were down by 4 rounds at the start of this half. As soon as they conceded the rounds there after the pistol, it went back up to 3. 4 rounds was the difference, I think, at one point. Might be mistaken. I think it might have actually been 3 now, giving it some more thought. But you know what? Who cares? It's just hearsay. Aura. Half buy is what I would recommend here. They want to go for the full eco, though. It won't hurt. Certainly won't hurt their buy in the next round that much. So it's just going to be upgraded pistols. No armor going in. I like this from Aura. They're wanting to try and make sure at this crucial point in the game now where we've only got 5 rounds of play remaining before overtime or somebody wins. Sure that they have the best possible buy to sort their way out of this one. Using one man for the time being. Potentially even a second here. Ganofi, you do not want to fall. You do not want to try and give any opportunity for Aura to get reinvestments out of you. Oh, okay, Sensei. Alright. I see. Spicy. Very spicy little wallbang. But like I said, the eco, it couldn't have hurt. And Aura recognised that. AWP now in the hands of Dexter. As Peak have their first lead of the entire map. Heavy aggression coming in. Sensei misses the shot. He'll be forced to back away. Manho and Zenex. Both were initially looking aggressive towards B, and then there's also pressure toward Ivy as well. Battery, with this AWP, might need to try and move into the site a little bit to give himself a little bit more forewarning. Top Dog is currently not covered either, so Shattery exposes himself in order to keep an eye on Ivy. High risk, high reward. There will be a great reward for Ivy here, as there is going to be a lot of pressure coming from it. Now, the problem that they need to try and figure out is if they can stop the bleeding through it. Peak Esports going to need to get a big old plaster on this one. 2 players currently reside over at B. They want to get a move on. This is going to be all A, all day. IFAN about to get ready to ready up this flashbang and smoke combination as he and the rest of his team are about to come barreling out of this position. Only one player is not here. The first shot missed by Shattery, but Maze comes in with a second. Shattery ends up getting the 1 frag required and even goes one better for a second. Xanax is still behind, but a 3rd frag from Shattery leaves him the final player remaining. And that could be all that she wrote in this round for Xanax as a 4K comes out from the Swedish superstar. And he's finally come alive here on Train. So now a full force buy coming in from Aura, giving it everything they've got. The tactical timeout call just to try and strategize a little bit further. Try and figure out exactly what it is that they want to establish and what they want to do here and how they want to approach this round. An important one. Denies map point for Peak. They can get something good out of it. 2 AKs, in fact 3 AKs, 1 Gilliland and a Deagle. No AWP here against the double AWP setup of Peak. Got plenty of opportunities to come good. Peak have been playing off the back foot all of this game thus far. Now finally finding themselves with one real advantage. Going to be a leg spotted. Manho falls. As now Sensei, almost the only defender over at B here, looks to try and get busy. Misses the first shot as they transition across to the site. Smoke dropped by Dexter as he recovers his teammate's weapon. HE grenades going barreling in. Doesn't really do all that much damage. Instead, there's a return fire HE grenade onto Freddy that does quite a fair amount more. There's also a player loitering towards Oil. That's finally going to be snatched up by Freddy. And Ganofi also goes one better on Dexter. Now it's Impact and Ifan to try and clutch this round in a 2 versus 4. It was a 2 versus 5, but now it's a 0 versus 4. And Peak have found map point. They are inevitable on this CT side of Train. They're Thanosing it up. Now, what do Aura have to offer? That bomb plant really does save them for this final, what could be, sorry, final round bye. Already big aggression coming out from Ganofi, whilst he is able to inflict massive damage onto Manho, is not able to take him down himself. Instead, he will call on the assistance of his teammates, but now Shattery might want to turn his attention around here. If he goes walking out into this, he's dead to rights, and now Aura find themselves with a 5-on-3. A huge advantage could be offered up here. Maze grabs 1, but Sensei falls thereafter. 4-on-1 for Freddy. And his best option here might actually just be to save. If he saves, then there's comfortability to drop the AKs and the AWPs out. Not AKs, sorry, M4s. But again, there is so much money here on the CT side that they're going to be fine, irrespective of the outcome. And there are so many low HP players here for Power Your Aura that this could be feasible. Freddy just needs to find an opening anytime now. And there's one. Fortunately, not the highest player. And Manho quickly takes him down as he goes for the Hail Mary smoke defuse. Same setup back in from Peak. Meanwhile, Aura have a full buy of their own. AWP, once again, has been gifted back over to Dexter. Aura still doing everything they can to force overtime. Peak doing everything they can to force Vertigo. And Sensei's found the first frag. There it is. Just like that. As they now look to try and coordinate the rest of their men and the rest of their efforts in towards a B hit. Freddy's found Impact. Another frag found by Freddy. He's finally taken down by Ifan, trying to do everything he can. He's had a great game here. 22 frags. Looking to try and extend it to 23. Manho also needs to try and get back to save that bomb from going down. It's all onto Manho. He's got one. 3 HP. Can he find it? AWP firing off. Player coming around the corner. Ganofi and Peak find the frag and find map 2. Train 16-13. We will see Vertigo. There's a final look at your scoreboard. Ganofi and Sensei, once again, Sensei topping the score charts and Ganofi having a really good time of things today. So nice to see that after a rough ESEA season for him thus far, he's really coming up good now. But nonetheless, we'll join more of this series on Vertigo after this quick break. I really appreciate you guys sticking around. It's a banger of a series, and we'll see you after this.